Yeah, I mean, I do think that data really is going to be the key in the future. I mean, we've been seeing it in traditional software for years. I mean, literally every company now is, taking data from you, whether it's personal data or anything, and using that to drive advertisements or anything like that. So to say that like the same thing is not going to happen in manufacturing is just kind of like almost ignorant. Like that's just what's going to happen. Like people are going to want it. And especially now when you're starting to see the rise of these really large scale machine learning algorithms that can do things like predict when you're going to have like some type of failure on your line. You can't do that type of like analysis without having the data in place first. Like you can't successfully implement any type of machine learning or AI without knowing what's going on in your line in the first place. So before you can even start to have those conversations surrounding AI and big data, you have to be able to collect the data first. So definitely in the short term, it's going to be a lot more data applications that are collecting that data, MES systems that are collecting that production data. And then I think within the next 5 to 10 years, you're really going to start to see this AI push kind of take off in manufacturing, just because like by nature, right, it's a really big challenge, right? Because for a lot of these customers, like you're running on these legacy systems that have been operational for 30, 40, 50 years. And to be able to go in and say, okay, we're going to transition to this entirely new system is just a really challenging prospect. So I think there's like a couple different ways that you can go about it, each with their own challenges. One is like you just straight up say, we're going to build this other system in parallel and then just swap over. And that's one way you can do it. Kind of just like say, okay, from, June 22nd going forward, like all data in the past is like null and void. We're just going to swap over to this new system. But then of course you don't have historical data. It's easier from a standpoint of, I don't have to integrate all these old legacy systems. I might not have historical data, which you do see some people doing. But what's more likely to happen is people say, I want to migrate all this old data from like, I might have a dozen different databases. And now that becomes a challenge, right? Because you might have things that don't line up quite right. And to be able to do that kind of integration requires a lot more like individuals from this customer that's doing it, a lot of institutional knowledge too, because like those databases might have been written in ways that like you might not be able to understand if you weren't the one to design it. So there's a lot of challenges involved there. I don't know what's the correct way to go. It might come down to like who the customer is and what their specific needs for that data are. I definitely think we're going to see like this larger push towards these data integrations. You're going to see a lot more, like reducing like the number of people that it takes to like work on a specific line, whether or not you think that's a good thing or bad thing. It's just the way that it seems to be going. That increased automation. I mean, everybody's looking to do it, especially in the US. A lot more business decisions are going to be starting to be made with these like MES applications, for example, and being able to kind of track your products through the manufacturing process. I mean, we're already seeing it now with like C-suite executives having these like MES applications being up on their like desktops, basically. So yeah, the data, again, kind of the point that I've been driving home this entire time. That's really where I see, especially in the next 5 years, is what I'm seeing.